Okay, so a couple people would ask for a how to build a pizza oven video. So I'm gonna get this pizza started, and then I finally dug through all my footage and I found all the footage of building this thing. Now, something that if you have the skills on bricklaying, this video could help you out tremendously on building something like this. Now, I've been using this one for 10 years and it works wonderfully. And we've cooked thousands and thousands of pizzas in here. So here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start at the bottom and go up. So I built the bottom of this out of block on solid bedrock foundation, using the underside of the oven for wood storage. I started out with 12-inch blocks, leaving a lip when I got above ground in order to put the brick on it. So it's very important to have this sitting on solid bedrock because it's going to be very heavy. The firebox itself weighs almost 2 tons. There's solid concrete and brick. If you don't get this thing on solid bedrock, it will not stay still. Approximately 6 foot wide, 7 foot deep. That's the approximate for this. This is a very large oven. Now, over top of the block foundation to support the fire brick, the firebox, and everything that's going to be on the inside, I poured a really thick concrete slab. Now, no, this concrete slab will become part of the heat retention as well. So as the inside of this oven gets hot, that heat will go down through that concrete, but will help hold that heat for days or even a week to come. So really thick concrete slab above the block to support the fire brick. All right, so now we're going to get into the firebox floor. Now, the floor of this firebox is your cooking surface. This is the surface that you're going to drop your pizzas onto. This is the way I lay my fire brick for the bottom, so that you have a lot of heat retention in a tall brick. You could lay it this way, it'll heat up faster. It won't hold heat as long. So I laid mine this direction with a bed of mortar underneath of it, but nothing in between. You don't want that mortar to be chipping up over the years and get into your pizza. So these brick are laid nice and tight together with no mortar joint in between them, just with a bed underneath of them. So when designing the firebox of this oven, there were a couple major factors in like the size of this opening. And the biggest one is, this is a 20-inch pizza peel. I can do a 20-inch pizza. I can actually do a little bit bigger than 20. I have another peel that's a little bit larger, but this is a 20-inch peel. It fits in the door really nice, and I can cook a 20-inch pizza. Typically right there is about where I cook at, right? Really close to the front. So now I still have better than half of the oven that can have charcoal back there, and I can keep it far enough away from the pizza that it's not burning the pizza. So my biggest factor is getting a nice big pizza in there. Those pizzas sometimes will weigh, they're 10 pounds easy, and this thing will cook them in 90 seconds. And then my second factor was this gigantic iron pan. I do a lot of meals where I'll cook bacon in here, or I'll do my bacon and eggs in the morning in this pan, or I'll do fish and potatoes in there. So getting this pan inside that oven where I can cook was a huge factor for me. You know, I can slide it in there and I can have a fire burning behind it and I can cook my meal in this pan. So that was another big reason for having this door a little wider than most of them. All right, so let's get on to the size of the oven. This one is very large. Most are a little bit smaller than this. Mine is about 5 foot deep. I don't have any regrets going with the 5 foot deep, because typically when I'm cooking, especially if I've got, you know, sometimes when I'm having pizza parties, there's 100 people here. So having that extra bed of embers behind that fire really does help me retain heat longer and cook faster. When you're cooking for 100 people in one oven, I mean, it's really important to keep that temperature as high as possible. So 5 foot deep, and I believe I'm roughly 4 foot wide. And I just cooked in this the other day when I started this video, and it's been open for 2 days, and my tape measure is still so hot I can't touch it. Inside, I'm 42 inches wide. So on the inside, I'm 5 foot deep, 42 inches wide. Of course, you're gonna leave 8 inches, give or take, for the fire brick. So now I'm going to play for you the next part of that time-lapse video, which is building the fire brick on the back wall, the side walls, and then the arch. And I'll tell you, the most important thing is you have to remember that that firebox gets very hot and expands. So there's kind of a disconnect from that firebox to these outside brick. The next thing that I want to point out is that I'm using all fire brick and refractory mortar for the firebox area. At times, this oven has reached temperatures of about 1500 degrees and regular operating temperatures about 1200 on the dome and 600 or 700 on the floor. Just like with all other arches I've done, there's a wooden form that gets moved forward each time you do another row of brick. As I got toward the front of the oven, of course, the arch was much smaller because you want the opening of the pizza oven to be smaller than the rest of the dome. From here out, you'll notice from time to time there'll be fire in the oven. It's important to dry out the fire brick slowly to remove all moisture from that area. And it's at this point that you never want the fire brick to get wet again. So typically, if we get a little rain, I'll cover it over and still build a little fire, trying to flush out all that moisture, but not letting it get wet. Now you'll notice that I'm adding about 6 inches of ceramic wool insulation. This will help that firebox stay hot once it gets hot. Okay, now we're on to the chimney or vent portion of this. The firebox that we built does not have a vent. The smoke has to roll out of the front of that firebox and then go out the vent. Some of these ovens, I've noticed, they don't really have a chimney. They just sort of let the smoke roll out here. But the way this one is designed, the smoke rolls out of the front of the firebox and then up the chimney. Right before it gets to you is when it rolls up the chimney. I figured it would be easiest to show you if I burn a couple. I just brought some of my junk mail and some cardboard out. So I'll throw that in there, and you'll be able to see that smoke come out, almost hit you and roll up the chimney. Now I do have a little bit of a smoke stain here, but that's because on a really windy day, the air blows in there and it blows a little smoke out the front. That's not too terribly bad for 10 years. The good thing is cardboard smokes a lot. And then the flue for this is actually just right here. So that's where your smoke is coming out and rolling right up the chimney right there. Well, the rest of this is a piece of cake. Just laying some bricks and then building a chimney as I go. The chimney flue dimension is 12 by 12, and then I put a topper on the top of the chimney for looks and then also to give me a little bit more extension. You'll notice right behind the chimney there's a stack of white bags. That is vermiculite insulation that gets poured around the firebox as well to help with the heat retention. When burning this oven, after firing just for one night, it will stay hot for 7 days. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned a little something. If you have anything in particular you would like for me to cook in the oven other than pizza or bread, I've done that millions of times, just let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to cook those things in the oven.